right, so right now we are going to talk about learning target 7 and learning target 8. Learning target 7 says I can write a linear function that best models a real-world situation, and learning target 8 talks about if we can interpret that solution in the context of the real-world problem. For example, if the answer is 4, you can say what 4 means to the problem and decide if any answer is reasonable. Can there be decimals? Can there be fractions? Can there be negative numbers? Things like that. Sorry. So the reason that I have two tables here is because most real-world situations come with a set of data in a table. Either it's given to you in a table, or you can make your own table based on the information that you have. So we're going to mostly focus on writing equations from tables because either you have a table or you can always make a table. Here's how to write a function given a set of data in a table. First, number 1 right there, you're always going to ask yourself, do you have the y-intercept? If the answer to that is yes, then you can use slope-intercept form. Because slope-intercept form, you plug in the slope right there, and you plug in the y-intercept right there. So if you have those two values, you can write the equation. For example, here, the slope we get by finding the change in y, which is positive 5, because we're going up by 5 each time, over the change in x, which is 1. So my slope is 5 over 1, or I could just write 5. That's not new. Now, the y-intercept we have when x is 0, because remember each intercept happens when the other number is 0. So if we want the y-intercept, we look to see where the x value is 0. And that is happening right here at 0, 13. So my y-intercept is 0, 13. Which means my equation would be y equals the slope, so 5, times x, plus my y-intercept, which is a positive 13, so I'll write plus 13. So if I zoom in a little here, if you have the y-intercept, you can write it in slope-intercept form. Or if the y-intercept is easy to get, like if you can just follow the table back or forward, follow the pattern to get it. If the answer is no, if you look over here, there's no y-intercept in the values listed. There's no spot on this table right now where the x value is 0. So if you don't have the y-intercept, you can use point-slope form. Because in point-slope form, you need the slope and any point. It doesn't have to be the intercept. You could use this point, or this point, or this point, or this point. You can just use the information that you have. So if I'm going to use point-slope form, I'm just going to pick a point. And I'll just pick this point because it's the first one. But I could pick any point I wanted. So now to write my equation, I write y minus, this is the y-coordinate of my point, so that's a negative 3. So y minus a negative 3 equals my slope, which is going up by 9 each time over there, and 1 each time over there. So my slope is 9 over 1, or just 9. So 9. And then in parentheses, I have x minus my x-coordinate, which is 5. That's the one that I picked. The only thing I can change here then is instead of saying minus a negative, that's really like you're adding. So my equation would be y plus 3 equals 9 times x minus 5. So point slope form is actually extremely useful because you can write an equation for any set of data as long as you can find the slope, and then you can just use any point you want to plug in for the x and the y coordinates. Over here, you have to have the y-intercept. So this is nice and easy if you have the y-intercept, but if you don't, point slope form is extremely useful. And then to think about learning target 8, where we're interpreting our solution, basically that means that every time you get an answer, every time you use your function that you made to find a solution, you're going to always ask yourself, does this make sense? Does it make sense to have 4.5 people ride in the car? Does it make sense that it takes -2 hours to get someplace? Okay? And asking yourself this question right here, does this make sense, will always help you determine if it is reasonable, and it will help you to know what it means in the context of a situation. And that is all.